Robert Garven of Cirith Ungol. Welcome back to 69 Faces of Rock. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Thank you.
Excellent. First of all, congratulations on your new live album, Live at the Roxy. And let me ask you, what do you remember from that show, and why do you think it was a perfect time to record a live album?
Well, it was actually the release date for our album Dark Parade, and we were also very excited about that. Uh, why it kind of turned sour for me was that the night before we had some friends here from Italy, and we all went out to dinner. And this is the night before we played, and I started feeling when I got home feeling bad. I woke up the next morning and I was really sick with the flu, and so I didn't think I was even going to be able to play. But we had the film guys there ready to film it, and it was all planned to be recorded for a live album. So I just showed up and did my best, and I think it came out really good. I just for the first time sat on my couch and listened to the video, cranked up really loud on my stereo, and I was just blown away by how heavy it sounded. A lot of times. Uh, Live albums, it'll be a good performance or what have you. But I think uh, this this album came out a lot better than I expected it to, and I was really happy with it. And I think we're really proud of it.
So when you look back at the video, which has the live component as well, what stood out to you?
Well, it's the first time the band's ever had a professional video made ever in our 52-year career. And we've had some videos over the years, but they're all very homemade, poor quality, almost bootlegish style. So what stood out to me was just the first professional video the band's ever had.
hmm That makes a lot of difference. In fact, I just told you before we started that I actually filmed you guys at Blades of Steel Festival. So in a way, it was like a pre-advertisement to what was coming up.
Yeah, and that was good. And I didn't mean I I wasn't talking badly about your video. I just meant it's something that the band did ourselves. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Something
yeah,
that
I
we
totally
produced.
get it. I mean, you could never compare a single camera shoot with a professional crew. There's no way.
Yeah, but it was wonderful meeting you there in Madison, and thank you for doing that video because that was really good.
So, tell me about the technical aspects of this recording. What did it take to make this all happen?
Well, recently for me, we switched over to in-ear monitors, and it made my life amazingly simple because for years we just had regular monitors on stage, and me being a drummer, a lot of times my drums are behind all the amplifiers, and so my joke was for 52 years playing drums, I never ever heard the other guys on stage very good at all. And some shows I never even heard the musicians at all. I'm humming in my head the parts when I'm playing drums to, because no matter how you set up for that or prepare for that or fix it in a sound check when you get on stage, so many different things happen. And with the in-ear monitors, I have the ability to on my phone to set my mix exactly how the way I want it, and it sounds so good that it actually makes me play better. And so for that show, we used our in-ear monitor setup. So all the microphones plug into our in-ear monitor mixer. And then from there, the mics come out of there and go to the house, but then they also go into the computer. So the whole time we were playing, it was running straight into the computer, straight off the microphones on stage. And that's where we got the feed to record the album.
Mhm. Even prior to this release, do you have any history with the venue, the Roxy?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the other videos that we had, in 1984, we played there, and I think we played with Pandemonium and Bitch right about the time that, or a little bit, maybe a year or two after Metal Massacre 1 came out, and our album King of the Dead, right up here, came out. We played down there. And so when that album King of the Dead came out, was re-released on Metal Blade around 2016, they included a DVD of a video that we took from that show that was in 1984. Once again, it was very kind of like a crude video. Matter of fact, the audio was so bad, I had a cassette tape of the audio off the mixing console, and I had a friend digitally, put those two together, and that's what Metal Blade used for that album. But yeah, no, we had a history playing there, and it was an amazing venue. I mean, all the venues on the Hollywood Strip, on the Sunset Strip, the Whiskey Go Go, the Starwood, the Troubadour, the Roxy, they're all famous. And over the years, we played there, and it was an amazing blast from the past to go back to a place that we had such fond memories of.
So in a way, it was like a homecoming show.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it was planned. That's why when I started feeling bad, it kind of made me kind of hesitant to play, but I think it actually came out really good. Like I said, I'm the most critical member in the band of our own band, so everything I do, I listen back to it and I'm think, oh, we could have done this better, or I should have played that beat, or what have you. But I think I was feeling so bad that night, I just focused on playing the parts of the album which we just released, and so I was pretty happy.
Mhm. Your last two studio record and the EP are incredibly strong. Does it feel like the band truly became resurrected creatively?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. A lot of people said that, when Forever Black came out, I read a review and someone said, "Wow, it sounds like the band. This is the album that would have came after Paradise Lost." Another person said, "Wow, this sounds like it could have been recorded in 1980s." And I was all excited about that because what I wanted to do is pick up where we left off and just kind of continue going forward. And I think that's what we did. Witch's Game, Forever Black, and Dark Parade. And I'm always a big proponent of, I think every time you do something, it should be an improvement upon what you did last. And I still, to this day, I think Dark Parade is the best album we ever released. And the good news is we're working on some new material right now. And my goal is to get another album out, and I want it to be even heavier and darker than Dark Parade.
And when would you anticipate that to be completed and released?
Boy, I don't know. You
Mhm.
know, this last year was supposed to be our final tour, and I'm hoping that's not really the truth. I'm hoping that we can still play some one-off shows here or there, like we were doing kind of before. Uh, but what I do know at our age, every show could be your last show. Every album could be your last album. Every day you wake up and someone famous that either an actor or musician passed away.
Mhm.
But I think we have at least another album in us, and we're working on it right now. And some of the riffs are legendary, and so I'm excited. Uh, there's no firm timeline for when we're going to go in the studio and do any recording or anything. But right now, we're focusing on I think writing the heaviest material that we can.
What are your personal favorites? I mean, the tracks from the last three releases, Forever Black, Half Past Human, and Dark Parade.
Well, I don't know. On Forever Black, I wrote the lyrics to Legion's Arise, and that to me was kind of like part two of the song we have Join the Legion, and kind of saying, hey, we were gone for a while, but now we're back. So, come meet us and let's, carry the torch of heavy metal forward. Uh, on Dark Parade, there's several songs I love. Sailor on the Seas of Fate. Every one of these songs has like a 30-minute story behind it, but I'll share with you the story on that one. When I was a kid, I saw the movie Ben-Hur with Charlton Heston. Amazing movie. And in one scene, he's captured by the Romans and he's put on a slave ship where he's rowing, right? And so for years, I've always wanted to have a song that had kind of like a similar drum beat to that scene. And in that scene, there's all these slaves tied up to the oars, right? And in front of it, there's like a Roman guy sitting, and he has these two hammers and he's pounding on this big, kind of like a stump, and as he pounds the beats, the rowers are supposed to row to it, right? And it starts out as like, attack speed, and then ramming speed. Anyway, uh, as it zips through that part of the scene in the movie, this pounding boom, boom, boom. And so I told the guys in the band, I said, look, I want to do a song that has a similar theme to it as that. And so that's how we came up with Sailors on the Seas of Fate. I think a lot of times the guys in the band humor me and kind of go along with some of the stuff I want to do just to shut me up. But I think the song came out amazing. And there's parts of the song where I hardly ever do this, but I went in and overdubbed a little bit of toms on top of the drum beat that I was doing, like boom, 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 to kind of match the scene in the movie.
That's really cool. Um, Tell me about the artwork for Live at the Roxy.
Yeah, well, that's the long story, and I actually have we do show and tell.
Hmm.
So Michael Whalen, who did all the covers for all our albums, his amazing artwork is just legendary, and we are so honored that he allowed us to use his masterpieces on our albums. He came up from Los Angeles, and I think it was about right that time, like maybe 84, 85, something like that. And he was at a convention in Los Angeles, like a fantasy convention, what you would now think of as a Comic-Con or something like that, right? Uh, this is all before the internet. Anyway, he came up, we invited him up, and we were going to go out to dinner because our bass player at the time, Mike, his family had a restaurant called the Sportsman. It was really fancy, really good. So the plan was for him to come up and we are going to go out to dinner. So he came up and he brought with him this painting that he'd done, Elric Demon Slayer, and he actually it was featured on a limited edition book here, pretty amazing, like a hardbound book. And inside the front piece, it's the same painting, Elric Demon Slayer. And so we were going through all the covers that we used over the years, and we used almost all of his Elric paintings except for this one, right?
Hmm.
And we were thinking, wow, that'd be really cool. It's a lot of his paintings were made originally for book covers, and so they're kind of long. And over the years, we kind of established kind of like a format that they'd fit in. And I'm really happy with a lot of the stuff. Matter of fact, I did the layout on Dark Parade. Really proud of that. I think it was like, for me, it was like the best one because I'm a member of the band. And since I did the first three album cover layouts, I kind of wanted to do something similar. So I did that. Now for Live at the Roxy, Metal Blade, they had another artist do the cover there, and I think it came out really good. And it kind of has a similar theme to our album King of the Dead, where the back is laid out. It's kind of like centered with photos and a text and everything. But so anyway, Michael Whalen brought that painting up, and we actually got to hold it and touch it and look at it. So we had a history with that. So not only is it on a new album, but it's something that the members of the band, were had some relation to, that we could look back and say, well, hey, we remember seeing that painting right after it was completed.
I clearly see that there's a strong connection between the music and the art direction. So if there's a possibility of a next record, where do you think you'll go artistically with that?
Well, Michael Whalen's a really good friend of ours, and I'm hoping that we'll use another one of his paintings on the next album.
Which makes sense.
And yeah, and we've kind of done the Elric thing. The only album right here, Witch's Game, this was kind of an odd one because it's not actually Elric, but it was another one of his paintings, and he kind of changed some of uh, the art on there to kind of match the song that we did, and we did that song for a movie, uh, The Planet of Doom, which is supposed to come out. They're still working on it. During COVID, it kind of fell all apart, but it's another one of those projects where people, uh, with not with tons of money, but with a lot of really good intentions and really great ideas, are working on this cartoon. We wrote the song for it. A bunch of other bands wrote songs for it, and so we're hoping that it's someday that comes out.
Excellent. Now, you have been playing farewell shows around the world. How would you describe the mood within the band?
Well, that's what I've been telling everyone. Even though that this was our last farewell tour, halfway through it in Europe, I was having second thoughts, and I even wrote out a big long. My wife called it a manifesto, but it was how I was feeling, and I submitted that to Decibel magazine because they were doing an article that we were on the cover for. And basically, what I was saying is, hey, look, the band. We made this agreement that we are going to do this final tour, but I don't think that I'm ready to quit yet. And I think the band has some more music in us. So I was kind of pushing the band the whole way is, look, let's not have this be the end. And I'm still kind of pushing all the guys in the band. And I'm hoping that, like I said, I hope we have another album out, and I hope we can play some shows. We're never going to tour traditional like most other bands do, for several reasons. One being, a couple of members in the band has always had full-time jobs, and so you can't say I'm leaving for, 3 months to go on tour with my band if you have a real job, right? So I think it'd be nice if we could still play some one-off shows in places that we never been. We never been to Japan. We just came back from South America, and so I think there's a lot of places even here in the United States that we could go out and play some shows where the band's never been before, so that we can share our music with some of our fans that have been waiting for a lifetime to see us.
Um, what about the shows themselves? Any favorites?
Well, yeah, no. And that's another reason when we started on this final tour thing, every show that we played, each show was getting better and better and more powerful. And I'm just like, wow, it's like I never want to be where we play and people look at the band and go, wow, they should have retired like 5 years ago. As long as we're playing and it's somewhat relevant and the music's there, I'd like to keep going till the wheels fall off. Now, when the wheels completely fall off,
Mhm.
I'm hoping we pull off to the side of the road, right? But I don't think we're right there yet. A lot of the shows that we did recently are pretty amazing. I'd never been to Italy. That was my dream. We played at a big festival in Italy, and that was pretty cool in Milan. And played in Switzerland, played in Linz, Austria, and we also played German magazine Def Forever. They had a birthday party and a really famous venue there called Mark the Halle. It's like right in Hamburg. We played there, and it was just a really amazing scene. And, the Germans really love their heavy metal, and a lot of the festivals we play at, even in Germany, there's a lot of Germans there, but there's people from all over the world. Uh, in Hamburg, it was like a full-on German crowd, and they were just so receptive, and the band played really good. Our record company guys came out, and so it was an amazing experience.
You know what the odd thing is, like that there are a lot of people still discovering the band, and on your end, it's like you're doing this final stretch. How do you address that?
Well, you're right. We never had a lot of financial success, and I think the music, speaks for itself. I think some of our albums are pretty amazing, and I think that they could stand head and shoulders to any other band that put out albums at that time. And I'll never walk that back. But we never had the financial success a lot of bands from our same era. So I still think there's like a large untapped audience that has never even heard of us, never heard of the band. Uh, so I'm hoping that with each record that we put out or whatever, there's a few people that can actually discover us and kind of go back and listen to our catalog. Maybe there's something in there that they never heard before that they'll like.
Hmm. So at this point, is there a date for like the final show set up, or that's still kind of hanging up in the air?
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't want to do that.
And
I'm
I
not
don't blame
ready to go.
you.
Yeah, I'm not ready to go yet. And a lot of people, some of the shows we played in Europe, after the show's over, I'd hug the promoter or something, and he'd whisper in my ear, like, don't stop playing. Keep playing. And I think, like I said, I think we have a little bit more life in us yet, and I don't know how much longer it can go on. At our age, we're like the elder statesmen of heavy metal, but like I said, I think we have another album in us, and I think we have a few more big shows in us. If I can talk the other guys in the band to doing it.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, like, I read an interview with David Crosby, of all people, before he passed away, and he was kind of addressing the fact about getting old, and he made a statement that at this point, time is the only currency.
Yeah, well, that's right. The only thing that you have in your life is your health, and all of us, as soon as you're born, you start dying. So I'm not gonna lie to you and say everyone that I know has health issues, even people that are 25. But that said, life is what you make of it, and every day I get up and every day I'm like focused on, writing new heavy metal. And that's my goal is to right now to put out another record
Yeah,
better than the one we did before. I mean, that's my goal.
that's a great goal to have. What kind of a legacy do you think Cirith Ungol will leave behind?
Boy, I don't know. Mark, I'll let you write the legacy after we're gone. Yeah, I have no idea. I think people will say, and I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to the band. We never had that much commercial success. We never really wrote music that was uh, popular at the time. We were writing music for ourselves, and so I think people say we stood up for what we believed in was our kind of true version of what we consider heavy metal. Now, I'll let your listeners be the judge of whether we succeeded, but we've tried our whole career to write the heaviest metal known to man. That's what I always like to say. But like I said, I'll let others judge that.
And staying on the topic, like once this comes to an end, what are the plans to preserve that legacy? And what I mean by that is having your records available in print and your music available. Like, how are you handling that part?
Well, I have no idea what's going to happen there. I know Metal Blade Records has been an amazing record company, especially since we got back together 2015, 2016. And they've kept all our albums in print. Uh, they've been really supportive of the band. And I think that'll all work its way out. I mean, the irony is like Van Gogh, Van Gogh never sold a painting in his life except to his brother. After he's dead, paintings going for $100 million. So, the irony is probably after I'm dead, our records will start selling and I'm making money. But like I said, I don't even think about that. I'm just thinking and my joke is we're going to go till the wheels fall off. And I already had two wheels fall off. So I'm a motorcycle now. So,
That's right. About getting some training wheels now, right? Um, Personally, what do you think you miss about the band once it comes to an end?
but once again, I'm not going to even think about that. And like I said, I'm an old man. You watch a video. I was really sick. I probably had like 103 degrees fever that night. And like I said, I may not look that great, but if you shut your eyes, listen to the music, I think the drums are fantastic. I think Tim singing, the guitar, the bass, everything is just like spot on. And so, it's really hard to get a live album to sound relevant. And I think, but at this one moment, it was a snapshot in time of where the band was. And like I said, I was really blown away with just how powerful the sound is, and we didn't do that much. We took it back and mixed it, but it's pretty much how it came off the stage off that inner monitor feed uh, direct to you. So,
Yeah. Tim and yourself are the last two men standing in 2025. How would you describe your musical journey with Tim through the decades?
well, uh, you're right. Matter of fact, when the band broke up in 1991, everyone had left the band. Me and Tim were sitting in our old band room and we're going, what are we doing? Should we get some other members in the band or just hang it up? And, we kind of said the same thing uh, that we were thinking at the time is like, hey, look, at that time, heavy metal was kind of not going away, but it was all the hair metal band, and the thrash metal was coming on scene. And we were still playing this original uh, heavy metal that we grew up with, what we considered like true metal, the classic metal, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Blue Cheer, what have you, right? And we saw that it was kind of headed in this weird direction, and we're not sure we wanted to be part of that. So we decided to let the band break up. But when we got back together, we thought, hey, if we're going to do this, we're gonna do it right. We're going to create the heaviest music we can, and I think we've done that. And over the years, once again, I'll let his voice speak for himself. It's been an amazing journey, and I still think Dark Braid's the best thing we've done so far. And so it's not like the we're we pulled off the side of the road and we're ready to die yet. I think that we have more in us, and I think that Tim has more in him too. Uh, he's got 10 sets of lyrics, and we're working on several songs for this new album. And I think people will be really surprised when they hear what we're doing.
Outstanding. Finally, is there like a final message or any kind of message you would like to send out to your fans?
Well, I would like for everyone to go out and pick up Live at the Roxy, watch the video, let us know what you think. And I have my buddy here, Cthulhu. He always like sits in with me on all the interviews. He's like an HP Lovecraft guy. Uh, I don't know. I think the reason people are drawn to the band is because we have something a little bit different to offer, a distinctive style of heavy metal that not everyone else plays, and we're going to continue to share that medal with the world. And I hope people join the Legion and get on board with us because we have more to come.
What a way to finish. Robert, thank you so much for taking the time. And I don't want to say good luck. I want to say keep it coming. Keep it
Hey,
coming.
thank you so very much.